You know, usually when we talk about ancient philosophy on these deep dives, we are metaphorically dusting off old manuscripts in a library. It feels very quiet, academic.
Right.
But the text we are covering today, it literally starts with an Indiana Jones moment.
It really does. It has a dream, a mystical mountain, and a rock that physically turns over by itself. I mean, it's not exactly a subtle opening.
Right. It's a blockbuster opening.
Yeah.
So let's set the scene. We are in 9th century Kashmir, a place that was, basically the Silicon Valley of spiritual philosophy at the time.
Exactly. And you have this master named Vasugupta. He is brilliant, he is devout, but he's sort of hitting a wall. The dominant teachings of his time are starting to feel distant to him.
Oh, so?
Well, they've become dualistic. God is up there, we were down here, and there's this unbridgeable gap. He's looking for something closer, something more immediate.
And that is when he has the dream.
Yes. A Siddha, a perfected being, or in some versions, Lord Shiva himself appears to him. And the message isn't a riddle or a metaphor. It's a set of coordinates. He is told, go to the Mahadeva mountain.
I love this part. So Vasugupta wakes up, he actually climbs this mountain, he finds the specific rock from his dream, and just by his mere touch,
Rock turns over.
and inscribed on the other side are the aphorisms we are diving into today. The Śiva Sūtra, the Aphorisms of Siva.
It is a textual myth of origin that really sets the stakes. It tells us that what we are about to read isn't just human speculation. It is considered a revelation, a lithic revelation, literally written in stone. It's the fountainhead of Kashmiri Shaivism.
But here's the twist for today's deep dive. We aren't just looking at the Śiva Sūtra in isolation. We are looking at a very specific source. The first English translation of the commentary by a figure named Bhaskara.
Which is a crucial distinction. Most people who study this text read a commentary by a guy named Simaraja. But Bhaskara's take, it's been largely hidden from the English-speaking world until now.
And he gives it a different flavor.
He gives us a specific flavor. While others might focus on quiet reflection, Bhaskara is all about energy, about the upsurge.
So we have a secret rock, a hidden commentary, and a philosophy that claims to explain the nature of reality. Okay, let's crack it open. Section 1 deals with the nature of the self. And it starts with 3 words that sound simple. Caitanya-matma.
Consciousness is the self.
Okay. I feel like I have heard that in every yoga class I have ever taken, you are consciousness.
It sounds nice on a greeting card, but what does it actually mean in this specific context?
Well, it is a radical statement about the architecture of reality. In this system, reality isn't made of dead atoms or blind forces. Reality is a single universal egoity, a massive infinite I am.
A universal I am?
And the translation note in our source material goes down a fascinating rabbit hole on this.
You mean the bit about the verb is?
Exactly. In English, we say consciousness is the self. We stick that linking verb in there, which separates the two concepts. But in Sanskrit, it is simply consciousness self.
So it's more direct. It implies that consciousness isn't a thing that you have. It implies that consciousness is an activity. It is constantly facing into itself.
The source used a mirror analogy that helped me visualize this.
Right. Imagine a mirror. Usually a mirror reflects other things, a face, a room. But imagine a mirror that reflects its own luminosity. That constant self-checking, that internal I am, is the fundamental building block of the universe.
Which leads to this very trippy idea of idealism found in the text. To be is to be perceived.
Esse es percipi. It's the classic philosophical hurdle.
Which always trips me up. Does that mean if I leave the room, this table stops existing?
In this philosophy, yes and no. It stops existing as a separate object for you, but it continues to exist because the absolute consciousness, the ultimate I, or Shiva, is always perceiving it.
Oh, okay.
The universe is held together by the attention of that supreme consciousness.
Okay, so if I am this infinite light, and the table is infinite light, and we are all held in this cosmic awareness, why do I feel like a stressed out guy with a deadline? Why don't I feel like a cosmic entity?
That is the million-dollar question. The text actually sets up this conflict right at the start, the tension between the ordinary dreamer, us, and the Siddha, the awakened one. And the answer lies in the second aphorism, which is a bit of a shocker.
Which is?
Knowledge is bondage, Janan Bandha.
Which sounds completely backward. Isn't this a deep dive designed to gain knowledge? How can knowledge be a trap?
It depends on what knowledge. The text explains that this refers to limited discursive knowledge. It's the knowledge of categorization.
Like putting things in boxes.
Exactly. As soon as you look at reality and say, this is a table, you are implicitly saying, this is not a chair.
So data is bondage.
Definitions are bondage. Because every time you define something as this, you are creating a boundary. You are slicing up the unity. And when you apply that to yourself, I am this body, I am a podcast host, you are effectively saying, I am not everything else. That definition is the trap.
And the commentary breaks this trap down into 3 specific layers, or malas. These felt very psychological to me. I want to unpack these because they explain exactly how we get stuck.
They are the architecture of our limitation. Think of them as 3 layers of grime on a diamond. The first one is anavamala, the impurity of individuality.
That's the feeling of being small, right?
Yeah.
Incomplete.
Yes. It is the primal contraction. It's that deep-seated cosmic imposter syndrome, the sense that I am not enough. That is the root.
And because we feel small, we get the second one.
Mangamala. The impurity of Maya. This is the illusion of difference. Because you feel small, you look out at the world and see others. You see duality. I am here, you are there, I am separate from you.
And that leads to the third one, which is the hamster wheel we all live on, karmamala.
The impurity of action. Because you feel small, anama, and you feel separate, Maya, you start frantically doing things to get stuff. You try to grab happiness from the outside world to fill that internal hole.
And that creates karma.
Cause and effect. It keeps you trapped in the cycle.
So it's a chain reaction. I feel incomplete, so I see you as separate, so I try to take something from you, and now I'm stuck in the drama.
Precisely. And the goal of the Śiva Sūtra is to reverse that chain, to wipe away the grime so the diamond can shine again.
Now, section 2 of the text takes a hard left turn. We go from deep philosophy to the alphabet.
It does catch everyone off guard. But this isn't grammar class. In Kashmiri Shaivism, linguistics is metaphysics. This is the concept of Matshaka,
The little mother.
or the unknown mother. The idea is that the letters of the alphabet aren't just arbitrary squiggles we invented to write grocery lists. They are the actual code of the universe.
The source calls it the group of sources, or Yona Varga. It says the alphabet creates the palace of the body.
Think of it like a computer simulation. In a computer, lines of code zeros and ones build the visual world you see on the screen. In this system, phonemes, the actual sound vibrations of the letters, are the cosmic code.
So the wheel of Matriga, the 50 letters.
The 50 letters from A to KS, yes. And Bhaskara, our commentator, gets really technical here about how they're divided. Vowels versus consonants.
Right.
Vowels are considered seeds. They are pure emanation, pure consciousness flowing out. Consonants are the womb. They are the structure, the hard edges, the material creation. When you speak, you are literally mixing consciousness, vowels, with matter, consonants, to create reality.
It puts a lot of pressure on casual conversation.
It should. The text says that this group of sources constitutes the body of obscuring energies. Language usually traps us. We get lost in the words and forget the energy behind the words.
And this connects to Kundalini, doesn't it? The sleeping serpent.
It does. In this text, Kundalini isn't just energy. She is the energy of speech. She starts at the base of the spine as silent intention.
This is the churning of the seed the text mentions.
Exactly, the bindu. When that seed churns, the energy rises. It moves from supreme speech, or paravak, which is silent, undifferentiated intent, all the way up to vaikari, articulate speech. The words coming out of our mouths right now.
So the goal of the yogi is to trace that path backward, to go from the noisy spoken word back down to the silent impulse.
Yes, to find the silence inside the sound.
There was one specific detail in this section that I absolutely loved. The half of Ka.
Ah, yes.
The Anaka mantra. It sounds like a secret agent code name, the half of Ka. What exactly is that?
It is a consonant without a vowel. Now, try to do that. Try to say the letter ka, but stop before the sound comes out.
KK. You just get a click in the back of the throat.
Exactly. It stops the breath. It is a sound that cannot truly be uttered. It represents pure potential energy before it explodes into form. It is a mystical stopping point for the mind.
A stopping point.
The text suggests that if you can focus on that half of Ka, that instant of impulse before the sound, you can slip through the cracks of reality.
I love that. A sound you can't hear. Okay, moving to section 3. The text shifts metaphors again. We leave the alphabet and enter the theater.
This is one of the most beautiful sections, the vibration of the powers. It uses the metaphor of the cosmic drama to explain our lives.
The aphorism here is direct. The self is the actor. Varttika Atma.
But think about what makes a great actor. The text says the self isn't just watching the play from the balcony. It is on stage performing it. It takes on roles, bodies, lives voluntarily.
And the source says the self is inebriated with the juice of supreme bliss. So it's having the time of its life playing these roles.
Right. It represents a kind of method acting on a cosmic scale. When a great actor plays a villain or a tragic figure, they don't become evil, but they immerse themselves so fully in the sentiment or rasa of the character that it feels real. The self does this. It chooses to get lost in the role of you for the sheer joy of the performance.
If the self is the actor, where's the stage?
The aphorism says the stage is the inner self, specifically the subtle body or priyastaka. That is the mental and psychic space where we experience our lives. That is where the drama plays out.
In the audience, this is the part that flipped my perspective. The spectators are the senses.
We usually think the senses, eyes, ears, touch, are just tools to gather data so we don't bump into walls.
Yeah, just input devices.
But here, the senses are the audience. They are viewing this cosmic dance of the self. And their job isn't just to record data. It is to experience vismaya.
Vismaya. That translates to wonder, right?
Wonder, awe, aesthetic rapture. You know that feeling when you see a massive thunderstorm or a sunset and for a second you just stop. You aren't analyzing it. You are just stunned by the sheer intensity of it.
Yeah. That moment of wow.
That is the senses applauding the performance of the self.
So instead of judging my life, I should be watching it with popcorn.
In a way, yes. The text says, waking is the second ray of consciousness. It means the yogi doesn't reject the waking world. He doesn't say, oh, this is all fake, I need to escape.
He sees it differently.
He sees the waking world as a ray of light extending from his own internal sun. It is an extension of his inner reality.
Which brings us to section 4. How do we actually navigate this day to day? Because we aren't always in that state of wonder. We sleep, we dream, we zone out.
This is where Bhaskara really shows his genius. He breaks down the standard states of consciousness, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. But he redefines them.
And he introduces the fourth state, Turiya.
Right. And Turiya isn't just a fourth rung on the ladder. It's not like you go sleep, dream, wake, Turiya. It is the background of everything.
But operating
The source uses a very specific instruction. The fourth state should be sprinkled like oil into the other three.
Sprinkled like oil. I like that image. It implies permeation.
Exactly. You don't stop waking to be in the fourth state. You bring the fourth state into waking. But here is where the commentary gets really granular. Bhaskara creates a matrix of states.
Oh, right.
He talks about waking and waking, waking and dreaming, dreaming and waking.
Let's unpack a couple of those because dreaming and waking sounds like something I do every Monday morning.
You and everyone else. Swapna Jagrat. Dreaming and waking. Have you ever been so grief-stricken or maybe just so lost in a daydream that you aren't really seeing the world around you? You are projecting your internal state onto reality.
Definitely. Or when you're doom scrolling and the physical world just melts away.
That is dreaming and waking. You are physically awake, but your consciousness is operating by the rules of the dream-creating thought constructs, the kalpa.
And waking and dreaming. What's that?
That would be lucid dreaming, or even just being absent-minded, where you are technically dreaming, but there is a thread of awareness. The expert yogi learns to navigate this matrix. They look for the gap, or the junction between these states. Transition point, the moment you fall asleep or the moment you wake up. That split second where you aren't quite one or the other, that is where the oil of the fourth state can slip in.
So the goal is to be the Lord of the Heroes, which is a cool title the text uses, meaning you are the master of these states, not the victim of them.
Precisely. You aren't tossed around by sleeper dreams, you ride them.
Okay, section 5. We've got the philosophy, we've got the map. How do we actually do the work? The source talks about the Great Lake.
Maharata. Now, this isn't a literal lake you go swim in. It represents the vitality of mantra and the depth of your own consciousness.
The practice described here involves the breath, right?
It does. It talks about fusing the ascending and descending breaths, often symbolized as the sun and moon, or fire and moon. When these two energies collide or fuse in the center of the body, they generate sparks of consciousness.
It sounds almost mechanical. Like an internal combustion engine for the soul.
It is very technical. This isn't just faith. It is internal engineering. And to do it, the text says, you need help. The master is the means. Guru Rupaya.
But guru is a loaded word these days.
It is, but the etymology they give is classic. Gu means darkness. Ru means remover. The guru is the remover of darkness.
But in this text, the guru seems to be more than just a teacher with a chalkboard.
Much more. The guru is equated with Saktipada, the power of grace. The guru is a function of reality itself. It is the mechanism by which consciousness reveals itself to you. It could be a person, but it could also be a book or a moment of sudden insight.
I like the bee analogy the source used.
Just as a bee desirous of nectar goes from flower to flower.
So a disciple goes from teacher to teacher.
Yeah.
It validates the seeking. You don't have to find the perfect one immediately. You are gathering nectar.
But there is a warning in this section too, and it's important. As you engage in these practices, the Great Lake, the breath fusion stuff starts to happen. You might develop cities or powers.
The text lists some wild ones. Reducing the size of the body to an atom. Touching the moon with your finger.
And this is where the expert speaker within the text, Bhaskara, waves a red flag. He acknowledges these powers are valid in this system. He says, yes, you can do that. But he warns that they belong to the realm of moha. Delusion.
So if you are busy trying to touch the moon with your finger, you've missed the point.
Exactly. You are still playing with the toys of Maya. You are still caught in the idea that there is a moon out there and a finger here. The true goal is innate knowledge. It is realizing you are the moon and the finger and the space between them. Getting stuck on magic tricks is just a golden cage.
It's amazing how this text goes from a rock on a mountain to the alphabet to a cosmic theater to breathing exercises, all to get us to simply wake up.
That is the journey. It is a synthesis. We started with the idea that reality is a single consciousness. We saw how sound and the alphabet matrika fragment that consciousness into a world of things. Then we saw how the self enters that world as an actor on a stage. And finally, through the practices, we realize we can sprinkle the oil of the fourth state into our daily lives to remember who we are.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on that distinction mentioned in the outline one last time. We're reading Bhaskara's commentary. How does he fundamentally differ from the more famous commentator, Samaraja?
It is subtle but important. Samaraja focuses a lot on reflective awareness, the self-awareness of the divine. It's contemplative. Bhaskara, our guide today, focuses more on light and upsurge, Udyama. The sudden springing up of consciousness. For Bhaskara, enlightenment is this brilliant, energetic upsurge of light. It feels a bit more energetic, perhaps a bit more sudden. It's less about sitting quietly and more about the sudden realization that wakes you up.
I like that, the upsurge. It fits the idea of the rock turning over. It's an event.
It does.
So here is the final thought to leave you with. The source text brings up the concept of visarga, or emission. It says, that which is not external abides as such.
This is the ultimate mind bender to end on. We usually think the world is out there and we are in here.
But if the universe is an emission of consciousness and nothing exists outside of consciousness,
then there is no out there. The street you walk on, the stars, the person you are talking to, they are not external to you. They are abiding within the consciousness that you essentially are.
So you aren't in the universe.
The universe is in you.
So as you go about your day, ask yourself, are you the spectator watching the show? Are you the actor playing the role? Or are you the stage itself holding it all?
Or perhaps you are the light that makes the stage visible in the first place.
Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us.
A pleasure.